basically, it's right in Moncton. Phenomenal place to fish. You get stripers, pickerel, perch, sunfish, bass, stripers. It's just an amazing, amazing spot, and it's right just downriver from Fredericton. Really good spot. This I put this picture up here because not all fishing days are perfect. Alex and I, we were fishing an event, and it rained and rained and rained. But we love the sport, so we were out there doing an event. It was just, although you may not be able to tell right now, I was really happy. This is Nicole and Sterling Gallagher. I believe this particular shot is either in Harvey Lake, which has come back, or it's at Magadavid Lake. I'm not too sure exactly. But you can see the quality of the smallmouth bass that we have in some of the local area lakes around here. It's just absolutely amazing. This is my partner, Larry Sanford. He was right proud because he actually caught a fish that day. And so I took a picture of him. He's all happy. He doesn't know I'm doing this though. This particular fish here was a brute. I caught it up in Perth Andover. Perth Andover is an amazing fishery, particularly in the fall. It's outstanding. I came here from Ontario 8 years ago, and my very first event was with the MBSFA. It's a 2-day event, and the ministry was out there. I'm telling you the story not to brag, but it was quite a unique story. They have a big fish for day 1 and a big fish for day 2. So what happened was the ministry would look at the fish, check the fish out, and they would put a hole in the tail, like a hole punch, and then they would release the fish. Nobody knows where they released them. And so I got big fish day 1. I can't remember if it was that particular one or not. And I caught it like 12 kilometers downriver, about as far downriver before the dam as you can go. About 20 to 3 on day 2, I was upriver from the launch site, and I was on fire. I started catching all kinds of fish, and I was giving them to my partner. So we weigh in. My partner comes strutting down. He goes, "You're not going to believe this." I go, "What?" He goes, "We got big fish again." I go like, "Woohoo! That's like $500. That's awesome." And then he tells me it was the same fish from day 1. It was the only fish that was caught consecutively 2 days in a row. I made $1,000. It was awesome. Couldn't believe it. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it myself. This is up in Woodstock. If anybody here is from Woodstock, amazing, amazing fishery. They have a great launch facility. We hold many events up there along with the Fredericton anglers. You can fish up the Meduskeg, the St. John River, Eel River. Amazing, amazing fishing. Probably in the fall, the best fishery going. There's muskies up there. Clark Rayner did a show with Thoughtful Fishing, I think it's called. And they had an amazing day. I think they boated like 8 40-plus inch muskies. So if that's your thing, that's awesome. This is 11.2 brown trout. I have never heard of anybody catching an 11.2 brown trout in the St. John River. But I'll get even a little more specific. I actually caught this fish in May, the first week of May, on a tube jig fishing for bass, and it was all the way up the Nashwauk River. Just amazing. The Nashwauk River that runs through the Fredericton is polluted with bass and trout, and apparently they have some big brown trout as well. Now I have heard of some smaller brown trout caught, but I was all worried it was a salmon because I was from Ontario. I wasn't too sure, right? So we confirmed it was a brown trout, and it tasted very good. This is John Powell. This is right in the downtown heart of Fredericton, and we were just out fun fishing with his son Alex. This is early season, and all you got to do is flooded timberline, hit the shoreline, stand on the shoreline, cast out. Awesome. In the spring, the fish they'll stack up like cordwood because all they want to do is go upriver and spawn to get ready. They're staging to spawn. So if you can find out those staging areas prior to the spawn, absolutely the best fishing around. This is Mr. Phil Barrett, myself. We were down on the woodland flowage. We actually won this event. I think we had 15 or 16 pounds of smallmouth and 500 US in our pocket. So I was quite happy about that. Again, Fredericton, Mr. Alex is there. Fredericton is amazing fishery. You got to get out in a canoe, If you don't have a boat, get a canoe or a kayak. Absolutely amazing fishing. This here is Alex and I. Alex in this shot, we had a little friendly competition. This particular place was Eel River. Everybody hears about Eel River. Well, you can't beat Eel River in the spring. I just mentioned about staging, like when the fish want to go up the river. This is a perfect staging area. It's beautiful, it's out of the wind, and it's just polluted with fish. It's awesome fishing if you hit it at the right time. Early May, late May, you might get a few still left in there. Phenomenal. Alex won this competition. Oh, my bad. Alex won that competition. He had caught not only the biggest fish, but in this, the smallest one as well. This is a over 5-pound smallmouth that I had caught, and this is one of my younger boys. We had over 22 pounds of smallmouth that day. This is a largemouth, and I only put one picture of a largemouth up. In New Brunswick, largemouth is a species that is prohibited. So if you happen to catch one, you're supposed to kill it. It's what's going on right now, and I think I talked to somebody about this earlier, is from Maine, for example, Moncton comes through Maine and dumps into the St. John River. And what's going on are these largemouth are migrating down into the St. John River. The NBSFA had an event last year, and there was 3 largemouth caught. And because of the rules, they were culled, and one of them was a 3-pound largemouth. It was just absolutely amazing. So just like the muskie in the St. John River, they're slowly getting in. I personally don't think it's people putting them into the river. That's my opinion. I think they're migrating down from Maine. The muskies came from way upriver in the St. John and whatnot. But you know, the muskie fishing is quite a sport, and it's being recognized across Canada. And maybe not my lifetime, but these largies are going to be here eventually, like it or not. And they're quite fun as well. This is a picture from Ontario. I just wanted to show you the size of a pike. That there was about 22 pounds. It was just a beast. Had a real fun time, ugly looking thing. It's the bigger brother of what we call pickerel, or the grass pike. All right, the grass pike or the pickerel around here, if you get anything over 25 inches, you're doing awesome. It's really good. And I know Alex won't want me to tell you this. Hook up a pink worm and let it, you know, on a single hook, let it float down to the bottom. Pickerel will go crazy over it. Right, Alex?
Yes.
Caught some trout in some of the, well, I can't tell you where, but locally. I had a home in Upper Gagetown on the water, and this is actually right next to my house. There's a launch, and these are just little stripers I caught. I caught 2 back to back, so that's obviously a small striper if you can tell by my little hand, but it's a good indication that the stripers are in the system. And there's 2, just to let you know, there are 2 migrations of stripers. One is in the spring, when they're following the gas pearl up from the ocean, and there's 2 ways of gas pearl. I find that there's so much food in the system that it's harder to catch them during that time, but you can. The second, or the most productive, as I've already mentioned, was in October, and that Upper Gagetown, or Gagetown Bridge that I mentioned at the beginning, is a prime spot. Just go up and down the piers or the pilings there, and it's amazing, just amazing fishing. The reason why they're here in October is from what I understand, is they're following the green eels up from the ocean. So as the eels move up from the ocean, the stripers are right on behind them, eating. This is in the Moncton. Phenomenal fishing. I'll talk about how I caught them in my next presentation. This is down towards St. John area, and that's a typical striper from what I'm told from down that area. I've never caught one that big, but it's quite. Has anyone here ever caught a striper? It's like hooking the bottom, but it moves. It's incredible, incredible fight. And apparently, if you put them on the barbecue, they're probably about the best seafood, white flake type of meat that you can eat if you're going to harvest them. Talk about muskies. This was caught up in the Woodstock area. There are some giant muskies. in the Woodstock, Fredericton area. And they are moving down towards St. John. How far they go, nobody's really sure. But there is a lot of muskies. Just another trout from a local stream, about a 15-incher. Another bass on the St. John River. It's my buddy Jeff Shaw. He catches the odd good fish. Actually, he does a lot. He does well. This is a grass pickerel, all right? Or sorry, a grass pike, otherwise known in this province as a pickerel. Okay? If you get anything over 25 inches, you're talking really big. The problem with this fish is there's many, many of them. A lot of the anglers don't like them, but they're fun to catch. The problem is when you go to eat them, if you choose to do so, they have Y bones. So unless you know how to flay them properly, you're going to be having a mouthful of bones. There is a way to do it. YouTube is a wonderful tool. You can find on YouTube how to properly flay them. Another grass pike. This is actually in Coy Lake, just down from Upper Gagetown. This Chad Doherty, he was a biologist with the Fredericton chapter here, and he finally caught a nice fish, so I took a picture of it. Okay, this here is a 5-pound rainbow trout, caught up in Perth Andover on a 1-ounce spinnerbait, believe it or not. Now this is about the 3rd one that I know of that's been caught up in Perth Andover. I don't know exactly how the rainbow trout got into there, but I heard it was a release from maybe some hatcheries or something, I'm not sure. But I ate him too, it was awesome. This is down on the Grand Falls flowage with my buddy Jeff Shaw. I want you to look at that belly. This is pre-spawn, early season. Once the ice is out is the best time to get those fish as they're transitioning up from the deep into the shallows as it's warming up. Excellent, excellent time to fish, and we'll talk about that shortly. Okay, in this particular here, Jeff was awful proud of that one, as I would be. It was a 3.9-pound largie. Did I say largemouth? Smallmouth, yes. Excuse me. And just more typical, I like to say typical fish, but those are really nice fish. And everybody here has an opportunity to catch them, particularly in the spring. And there's that 11.2 brown trout I caught up the Nashwauk. And he was about 28 inches long. Beautiful, beautiful trout. I was really worried. I didn't know if I had I'm from Ontario. I didn't know if I had a salmon, so I was all worried. But thank God for the internet. Some more smallmouth bass. I believe this is in Harvey Lake. Harvey Lake is an amazing fishery. It's come back. Harvey Lake had a kill about 10 years ago where the age of that fish, of one particular, the big fish died, and then they had a consecutive kill. But slowly, in the last 10 years, the last 2 years, some people have been fishing it, and it is coming back very slowly. Catch and release is probably why that lake is coming back. And there's one of the stripers I caught from that bridge I showed a picture of you earlier. Okay, it's really simple. The light cascades down onto the water, and it makes a black line. If you follow that black line up and down the bridge, using a floating J11 or J9 Rapala, you're going to get those things. Outstanding. Fun, fun, fun. Another bass. This is Clark Rayner and Henry Arsenault, and they won this event out of Woodstock in the early spring. I think that was 16 or 17 pounds there. So the fishing here is outstanding. We have good opportunities in this province, and we're ahead of Ontario for fishing by at least a month, 2 months. It's outstanding. There's my buddy Alex with another pig, as we call him, Alex? It's my daughter. These guys here had a store at one time in Sussex. It was a Sussex Outfitters. I put a little thing on for them. They picked the name out. We took the guys fishing. So he had a great day. I caught this right in front of my house in Upper Gagetown. I couldn't believe it. It's like, why am I wasting all this gas? And I just fished right there. This is up the Nashwauk River, again with Jeff Shaw. Beautiful, beautiful smallmouth. This is Woodstock, last year, 2-day event, MBSFA. Go see the boys, they'll tell you, they'll tell you when that event. It's our second event of the month of May. 2-day event, that picture there was over 15 pounds second, but I blew it on day 2. That's fishing. Can't win them all. So I'm glad you guys are here. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the basics of bass fishing. Does anybody have any questions?
It's just the one in the main highway. It's the only one.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the basics of bass fishing again. My name is Ray McFarlane. I live in Moncton presently. I'm still in the military. Been in the military for about 31 years. Can't wait to retire because I'm going to fish. Been competitive fishing about 25 years or so. I have been blessed and lucky enough to win a lot and shake the hands of everyone else that wins in front of me. So it's an outstanding fishery, good opportunities. If I can win, anybody can win. Even Tim over here can win. All right, as I stated at the beginning of my little thing here, I'm the president of the Federated Anglers Club. And I have brochures at the end. I'll come by and give you some. It has our events. It's $10 for membership, $5 to fish a head. It's easy, no stress. There's big boats, little boats. It's fun. It's about a club atmosphere. The MBSFA, fun, good people, but more on the competitive side. It costs a little bit more. And I've been a member of the MBSFA now for the last 8 years. Okay, what type of bass fishing does the East Coast have to offer? All right, we obviously heard me talk about this before. We have the smallmouth. A lot of people think that smallmouth are an invasive or a introduced fish. Well, yes, it is. Back when the railway was coming through, some of the people would throw smallmouth bass into little streams and whatnot. However, like every other fish, they do well in certain types of water. New Brunswick has some outstanding water for that type of fish to expand its ranges. Has anyone here never caught a smallmouth in New Brunswick? If you haven't, you're missing out because they fight. They're current-based. They're very, very strong fish. Now, I promote catch and release of smallmouth. However, if you choose to harvest a smallmouth, the smaller is the better. And I'm telling you that for 2 reasons. A, the fish is a lot sweeter. It has less pollutants in it. And B, we don't want to kill the spawners. So just keep that in mind if you want to taste a bass. When I was a boy, I ate all kinds of bass. All kinds of them. But as I matured and got into the fishing side more, I realized that the big ones were maybe better to take a picture and let go. And I've already talked about it. We talked about the stripers. Okay? Saltwater sea bass, some people might call them. And the East Coast is polluted with them. All the way up to Fredericton. I'll be in 5 feet of water, look over, go, oh my goodness. 5 of them. Just 5 feet of water. It's incredible. Oops.
He's gonna watch what he's doing with this thing.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about the basics of smallmouth fishing. We're going to talk about fishing rods. I know Clary over there bought a new rod. Good deal, $35 for an ugly stick. Awesome. We're also going to talk about fishing reels, the different types. All right, this is just at the basic level so that people can get more involved and get themselves into the fishing. We're also going to talk about what types of different fishing line, what applications can we use them. It's up to you, but I'll tell you what there is out there. We're going to talk about the artificial lures. Okay, I fish only with artificial lures. It's legal to fish with live bait, but I like fooling the fish personally, like fly fishing. You want to fool that salmon, I want to fool the bass. So I only artificial lure fish. I'll talk about a couple knots, some guaranteed knots. I don't care what type of fishing that you want to do, outstanding knots. And how we're going to present all this package together in a presentation. Aggressive, slow, subtle, whatnot. Okay? I thank everybody for coming out so far. Okay, we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about fishing rods. Right? As you can see up here, we have the casting rod. Larry, you want to hold up your rod, please? There's a typical casting rod. Okay, as you notice, it has a nice butt on the handle, and it has a trigger for your finger to rest in there. That's because of the type of application that you're going to be using for. We'll talk about that shortly. Thank you. Down below, what everybody usually has is a spinning rod. Spinning rods are for inline spinners for trout, for bass, with a spinning reel. It's more of a subtle type of presentation. Okay? Everybody knows in New Brunswick about the salmon rod. Not so much in this province, although they did open up a lot of lakes this year for ice fishing. I'm done with ice fishing. I'm sorry. If you enjoy ice fishing, good for you. But I've been 31 years